So over the weekend, we went on it was supposed to be a camping trip, but good old Nash over here started puking about, what was it, 3/4 of the way up the mountain?
Like, we had gotten up to the highest part we were going to get to, and then it was downhill to where our campsite was theoretically going to be.
Yeah, and then
And things went
started
bad.
exploding.
Yeah, both ends, not ideal.
But we noticed some things like during the drive over some rocks, and I mean we were in the sun quite a bit, and we noticed some overheating in the transmission gauge, and then as well as actually the motor kept up pretty well.
Yeah, so, the thing that you want to think about is when we're going at low speed, because we have mechanical fans, so our RPMs are pretty low, and we don't have the speed of the air from us driving going over the radiator. We really want to pay attention to our transmission temperature and our engine temps, So like the engine oil temps stayed pretty good throughout the whole thing, and my transmission temp was okay, but yours was an issue, and we know we need to rebuild the transmission anyway. You don't see it in the video, but we took back roads to get the whole way there because Matthew's transmission doesn't even shift past third, so he's pretty limited on. I mean, what's your top speed, like 40 miles an hour right now?
Yeah, it's like 45 miles an hour, and then it hits 3,000 RPMs. So.
Yeah, and you're stuck there, right? So we don't know if the overheating is an issue that's related to needing to rebuild the transmission, or if we need to rebuild the transmission because it fried the clutch packs because it was overheating in the first place. But we already have all the stuff to rebuild the transmission, so we've got to attempt that, which will probably be one of our next projects. But then the other thing that happened that we don't show in the video, we kind of show the tail end of it, but by then I had gotten like fully sick. So it was kind of like, okay, let's get off this freaking mountain.
Yeah, the focus wasn't quite on filming at that point. It was more of like, all right, let's get Nash home because he's yakking everywhere.
Yeah. So I was leading us, and we get into that. You can actually see where I get stuck in the video. We're going in this kind of this snowdrift, because when we get to where we're getting on the north side of the mountain, there hasn't been enough sunlight to melt everything yet. And so we kind of get in this slushy spot, and I got stuck. And I took that opportunity to stop and go down trail and absolutely soil myself, more or less. And then by the time I came back up, the car had been sitting off for a little bit, and I kicked the car on and tried to, kind of power through and get some wheel speed up and see if I could either push backward or forward. And the weirdest thing happened. So I put the pedal to the floor, RPMs go to 1,500 and hold. And supposedly, everything I've seen online, my car doesn't have any sort of traction control. So that would be what my initial thought was, that, okay, there's some sort of traction control enabled. And yours has a traction control off button. Yours is a newer model. Yours is an 03.
Yeah, mine has auto traction control, so I can turn it on if I want. But
yeah, and so in that case, my initial thought is we're cutting throttle response because we're getting wheel spin. But you guys were outside of the rig, and you didn't see any wheel spin at all.
No, so we saw your driver's side tire attempt to turn, but it didn't have like any real power behind it, so it didn't actually start spinning it.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
So it did this, and then it would just stop, rather than actually just kind of power through it, because it's just snow, so it should have easily powered through.
Yeah, we should have had some wheel speed going up. Okay, so normally what I would have done in that situation, if I wasn't like dying, I probably would have pulled the ABS fuse and attempted again to see if maybe that was something related. We just put new wheel bearings on, so that could be an issue. But that's worrisome if, we get into a situation like that. And because I have nothing in the cab to turn the traction control off.
Yeah.
And so, we need to figure out a scenario. We need to try to put it back into that scenario and retest that before we go out on any sort of like long expedition, at least, because, if we get out and I get stuck and you get stuck, and I'm in a situation where I don't necessarily need to be stuck, but the car's doing something dumb.
Yeah.
You know, if there's a bypass for that, like let's say I just pulled the ABS fuse because that's doing something weird in there, and then all of a sudden we can get a bunch of wheel speed going again. Problem solved.
Yeah.
Effectively, more or less, right? So that's one thing that's going to need further testing. We got to rebuild your transmission. We've got to get Tanner's truck fixed, which we did get some plate steel from someone for that. So we should be able to kind of, you know, try our luck at kind of bending the frame back into position and welding something up and kind of getting him redone.
Now, next time I get stuck, so you got stuck first in the snow. I got a little stuck up in the snow behind you.
Yeah, and I was freaking out at that point. I was like, I'm going to be stuck on this mountain, puking, pooping myself for 24 hours, laying in the snow for relief. Yeah,
But in that kind of situation, do I turn my traction control off?
Yes.
To try to just get as much wheel spin?
Because basically what's going to happen is, you know, when you start getting wheel spin, the computer in the car says, okay, no more throttle, because it's thinking you're getting wheel spin like on a road, and that you're going to spin out or do something that causes you to go off the road, right?
Yeah.
So you would turn your traction control off in that case so you can get some like wheel speed going.
See, I didn't do that. So that was probably why I got a little bit more stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so that's what, off-road, we generally want that stuff off for the most part.
Yeah.
But then one thing to consider upgrades-wise on yours down the road, you know, mine has a bigger radiator, so that's why my trans temps could have stayed lower. That could be a factor. I'm thinking because you were probably getting a lot of slippage, it was just creating a lot more
Yeah, that's probably
friction.
what was happening, yeah. It actually had an easier time like staying in gear and stuff when it was off-road and the all-wheel drive was on.
Yeah, and we were just kind of
Yeah,
trucking
but
around
on the road,
stuff.
it's a lot harder to keep it. It has a lot harder time to keep it in gear.
Yeah, it's just kind of hunting for
as
stuff.
soon as we got into the dirt, it was kind of going through. It was pretty easy.
Yeah, so that's what, I mean, I need some better tires, for sure. Because our trucks are basically the same. Yours is longer than mine, but
If anybody wants to donate, you know, tires, preferably Patagonians.
hit us up on Patreon.
Yeah, preferably Patagonians.
Well, yeah, because they're significantly cheaper than everything else. Yeah. So future plans for the channel, we'll see. You know, get Big D up in working order. What are we calling Tanner's car? R2?
Panda.
The Panda?
Yeah.
Get the Panda in working order.
Yeah.
It's because it's big and it doesn't move much.
Yeah. Rams into things.
Yeah. Yeah, it knocks over bamboo, I guess. Right? So get the Panda up and running so at least we can get 2 rigs going. I've got a pinhole leak in my radio that I need to fix. Mishimoto's supposed to have a lifetime warranty because I do have that aftermarket radiator. I would like for you guys to eventually have those as well because there's a lot more cooling capacity on that. Maybe doing auxiliary fans, like an electric fan. We have probably 4 inches between our mechanical fan and the face of the radiator, and I think we could flush mount an electric fan in that space and attach it to a switch. So when we're in that situation, we could turn on the electric fan when our speed is low, and then we just have to pay attention to the power draw. But
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's a big list of stuff. It was cool to get out this weekend and actually
That was cool.
put some hard testing. Like your rig held up really well.
Cool. Yeah.
It did everything that mine did. Although you didn't put that little lip that I jumped off of. The one that Chase got from the front angle.
Yeah.
At least put it in a short, man.
Oh, yeah,
I know Chase has freaking Jason Bourne shaky cam, but
I can't remember if he had that footage. I'll look on my computer and see if that's on there. But
it's a bummer
I'll try
if
to
he
make a
didn't.
short out of it. But that spot with the freaking stump, though, that scared me.
We didn't
I
get any
was
video of that, huh?
Inches close. I was so close.
Yeah, see? The GoPro was a little wasted because we had it pointed toward us, but we kept forgetting to turn it on to record ourselves. But we did record ourselves for like a half an hour, I think, on accident.
You did that twice.
Okay, so there's some footage of that, but it's probably me mostly going like,
Yeah, there was some weird stuff. Yeah, it was weird. I like skimmed through it. I was
Fully
like, I'm
weird.
deleting this whole clip. This is stupid.
Another thing I was thinking, we need some sort of inverter because your drone batteries only charge off of 110 on a house plug.
That's right.
Which those aren't too expensive, so we should definitely do that. You know. What's up, baby?
All right, guys. Well, we have quite a few stuff to do. We're gonna go back to the
lot
garage and
of
slowly
things.
put stuff together.
Yeah.
But next time, hopefully, we actually get to camp.
Help us get some more content out, because, you know, people. Oh, you pooped for sure.
But other than that, I'll see y'all
100%.
later. We'll see you guys.
You say bye. Say bye bye. Say bye bye. Nope, not this time.